everybody. Lord Tremendous here. Got a battle report here for you. 2,000 point battle. Tomb Kings versus Dark Elves. Yeah, I was surprised too. My buddy Rathgar, he plays, High Elves, Wood Elves, Bretonnians, just about every army he dabbles with. Warhol makes it easy, I'll admit. But yeah, he put together a Dark Elf list and threw it at me today. And I got to admit, it was kind of exciting to see them. I know they're a legacy army. I know they're not in the strongest position right now, but they're still pretty solid, and my opponent's really good. So those two things combined make this for a really good game. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list for this one, and I made no changes from my last game because I wanted to give it a fair shot. Honestly, I didn't see anything I was quite ready to shift. I have a few things I'm toying with the idea, but I wanted to give it another go. So I have 877 points of characters, just like last time. My High Priest, Idameta Gacy, at 430 points. He's my General on a Bone Dragon. He's a level 3 wizard using Illusion with the Lore Familiar, Talisman of Protection, and the Flail of Skulls. I have another High Priest, Bernice. She's 277 points on a Skeletal Steed, level 4 wizard with Necromancy, Warding Splint, Enkil's Canopy, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. Last but not least is my Mortuary Priest, Baby Mage, at 170 points. He's my BSB with the Banner of Desert Wind. He's a level 2 wizard with Necromancy and uses the Amulet of the Serpent. Core still consists of 2 Tomb Swarms, the Batteries, 36 Skeleton Archers with full command warbows and light armor, 7 Skeleton Horse Archers with a Master of Horse just in case, as well as light armor, and 6 Ushapti with an Ancient and Great Bows. Rounding over my list is my special choices, 477 points in total, consisting of 3 Tomb Scorpions with Ambushers and Terrors Below, as well as 4 Ushapti with Great Bows, because I love them. Here's my opponent's list, and he played Dark Elves, which is the first time I've run into Dark Elves since I've been doing battle reports again. So this is kind of exciting. I know they're a legacy army. I know they're not super powerful right now, but it's still cool to see them. Out of all the elves, the Dark Elves are the coolest for horrible, filthy knife ears, but it is what it is. And they're being played by my buddy Rathgar, so yeah, he's got a pretty solid list. He's got 690 points of characters, which is actually pretty low compared to what I'm used to. He's got a Dreadlord, who's his general. He's on a cold one. He's got full plate and a shield, as well as the Ogre Blade and a Talisman of Protection. He's also got a Death Hag with the Executioner's Axe and the Rune of Cain, which, if I'm being completely honest, is the character I'm most afraid of in this entire army. And then he's got a Supreme Sorceress as a level 4 wizard with dark magic. She's on a Dark Steed, has a Black Staff, and 4 of those little focus familiars. So pretty solid lineup for characters. For core, he's got 8 Dark Riders with a Musician, Repeater Crossbows, Fire Fleece, Scouts, Cav Spears, and Light Armor. And then 27 Witch Elves, which is terrifying, with full command, additional hand weapons, and the Banner of Harganeth. In special, he's got 7 Cold One Knights with full command, lance, shield, and full plate armor, as well as 20 Harganeth Executioners with full command. In rare, he's simply got 2 Repeater Bolt Throwers, so like I said, this is a pretty good, well-rounded all-comers list. Spells I got for this one are, it always takes his basic 3, Glittering Robe, Spectral Doppelganger, and the Mirage. Bernice got Incantation of Desert Wind, Unquiet Spirits, Steed of Shadows or something like that, or Spectral Steed, something along this, something I'll never use, and Curse of Years. And Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Spirit Leech. My opponent got Soul Eater or something like that, Battle Lust, Word of Pain, and Black Horror. And that takes us over here to a deployment. So I wasn't really sure what to expect with the Dark Elves. I have not really faced them, maybe once since I started playing the Old World, and I was rolling out of the box, and my opponent was rolling very much in the worst part of the box. So it went my way very much. I didn't really get to see what they could do. But I knew Witch Elves were dangerous from that game because they were the only thing that really produced for my opponent in that fight. So I was really worried about them. So when I saw where he placed them, obviously my archers were going to go into the woods there with the battery right behind them. But I put the Boshati, the big brick, right next to him, feigning like I was going to shoot at his executioners. But no, I had every intention in the world of just blasting the Witch Elves because I knew if 2 or more got into combat, I was SOL. I was just done. The second unit of Boshati on the left flank there are on the hill. As you can see, they're facing more towards the middle because if unless I absolutely have to shoot at something else, I'm going after the witch elves. I need to kill them before they get into combat. Bernice is over there with her screen on the left flank, and then Inametigasi's on the right there on his big, beautiful Badonkadonk dragon. Honestly, the plan is to send Ida into the executioners, maybe soften them up a little bit if I can, but honestly, charging into them, I'm not super worried about their great weapons, and I want the fight. Other than that, I've got my Scorpions in reserve. On my left flank, my opponent's right, we've got his Dark Riders with his Supreme Sorceress installed with them. Next to them are the Cold One Knights with his Dreadlord attached. In the back there are his Bolt Throwers, and then of course on the left side there we got his Witch Elves with his Death Hag, and on the right side we have the Executioners, I believe. And you know what? Yeah, and that's it for deployment. All right, here's top of turn one after movement, and as per usual, my opponent won the roll off to go first. He did something I didn't expect here. He had his army in marching formation. So yeah, they fired across the table. I was kind of like freaked out a little bit. I was like, oh my god, the witch elves got over here way too fast. So that sucks a little bit. It's kind of good because now I can volley fire at them, no problem. But it's really bad because next turn or so, I've got like 2 turns to shoot at them, and then they charge, and I'm screwed. So little worried about that. On the left flank there, his Cold One Knights just marched up. His Dark Riders with the Sorcerer just moved up a little bit. She's in range of Bernie, so hopefully it'll be a good Sorcerer battle. And yeah, that's really it for movement. In the shooting phase, his Bolt Thrower takes aim at my Boshati and puts 2 wounds on them, which is rude. And then he gets the Black Horror off, and that spell scares the hell out of me because it's strength checks. And while these guys aren't exactly weak, they're not exactly working out at the gym prior to the battle. So if it hits Bernice, for example, or anything, I could easily lose her, and that terrifies me a little bit. All right, that takes us over here to bottom of turn one, and yeah, the vortex did bounce through me. I'll get to that in just a second. On the left flank there, I move my screen up just a little bit to just kind of shoot at the Dark Riders and stuff like that. I move Bernice away from them because there's really, yeah, the Dark Riders could shoot at her, but I'm not super concerned about that. I need them to get in there and try to do some damage. She does get Incantation Desert Wind, so she has reserve move, but it was only on her, unfortunately. I didn't get the big one, so like the Boshati, I don't believe can do any reserve move. They do back up a little bit on their hill and turn to face the what's it called, the Cold One Knights. I am able to get Curse of Years off on them right now, so I believe they're toughness 3 currently, which makes that a lot easier, especially because Bernice is in range for Unquiet Spirits. That needing 5s instead of 6s is going to be huge. In the center there, Baby Mage got Incantation of Curse Blades off, which is really going to help. And the coup de grace to my genius is Itametigasi was able to get Miasma Mirage off. I did eat 2. No, I didn't eat any wounds off anything in order to do it. But he did get it off on the Executioners, which means I can ignore them for a turn and really focus on the Witch Elves if I want to. So I'm excited about that, and that's the end of the movement. So I've been excited about this. For some reason, the breath weapons I've just completely forgotten about in most of my games until recently, and now it's like a brand new toy. So yeah, Badonk fires off his breath weapon, which is Strength 3, AP 3, and does multiple wounds too. I mean, it's not going to affect anything with the Executioners, but it does definitely hit them. And as you can see, it looks like 1 solid and 5 partials. Unfortunately, I only am able to kill one of them, is what it is. But hey, one less executioner in the world for me to worry about. So, the moment of truth, the archers fire about 24 shots into the witch elves, and unfortunately, I'm only able to kill 5. It's a good start. It is. It's a solid start, but I was really hoping for like 8, maybe 10, 20 if I got really lucky. But you know what? 5 is still really solid, and I'll take it. Although I wanted more. My Boshati, since I don't really have to worry about the executioners next turn, shoot at the witch elves as well because they're the real threat. I'm only able to kill 2 more, but it wasn't until after they were dead that I realized, oh no, they're no longer in marching formation. They can charge next turn. It's okay. It's okay. I have a plan. So Bernice fires off unquiet spirits into the Cold One Knights and kills all but one of them. 6 wounds. Curse of Years is really what made it happen because I needed fives instead of sixes. Strength 2, toughness 3, thanks to Curse of Years. Oh, that was huge. So huge. So yeah, they went from basically a unit that could obliterate me no problem to a unit that could probably still obliterate me no problem, but at least it'll be slightly more difficult for him now. And I'm excited about that. She did really, really well. The Dreadlord and one Cold One Knight is all that's left. And yeah, then the screen, since I mean, I don't really think I'm going to do any wounds to the cold ones, I fire at the Dark Riders. Not only do I kill a bunch of them, but I forced the panic check and they actually fled. It was just fall back in good order, but yeah, pushed them back a little bit. They could still charge, they're still a threat, but that made me feel pretty good. Left flank is looking pretty solid right now. So there's no combat yet. So we go over here to top of 2. Here it is after movement. And yeah, his Dreadlord and his one remaining Cold One Knight. My remaining bow shot he did shoot at him but failed. They charged the screen, the horse archers, which I guess I could see it. I figured he would charge the Boshati, but he didn't want the stand and shoot reaction from them, which actually does make sense. So he had battle lust on him. He had to charge something, and so he charged the screen. They did stand and shoot. Obviously, they did nothing because I was right. His Dark Riders with his Sorceress moves up just to combat against anything Bernice might try to cast. In the center there, I backed up off the Elves. They were due to being in the woods. So I have the Banner of Desert Wind with the Archers, and so I backed up in my reserve move, meaning that the Witch Elves were going to have to hit the woods in order to hit them, which means they take the lower of the 2 dice and their -1 movement. Due to the -1 movement, they actually would have been out of range to charge them. So that actually worked out. The Witch Elves did not charge into my archers, gives me a whole nother round to shoot at them, and I'm excited about that. So he moves up right to the edge of the woods, not quite in them. And so, yeah, it's kind of, poop or get off the toilet type of situation, but I'm going to go for it. And his executioners, they end up redressing the ranks and flattening out the way you see because it's pretty obvious where Itameta is going next turn. That's it for movement. Nothing happens in the magic shooting phase. The bolt throwers fire and miss, and of course, nothing else really occurs. So we go straight into combat. And lo and behold, as weird as this is, number one, I completely forgot I have a master in there, so I don't issue a challenge. And the Dreadlord and the unit champion are able to just obliterate my poor unit, as you can see. All but one guy is dead prior to crumbles, and the unit crumbles, he overruns, and then reforms because he makes his leadership check to face Bernice, which she's not comfortable with. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to back up and get out of the range. It's not going to be a huge big deal, but I still, that makes me really nervous. Bernice is just has a special place in my heart, you know? All right, here's bottom of 2 after movement. Bernice is able to resurrect the Boshati. She actually soaked one to death in order to get Unquiet Spirits off that one turn that she obliterated the Cold One Knights. She's able to get Curse of Years off on the Dark Riders this time. I thought about trying to get it off on the Cold ones, but I don't know why I didn't. I just wasn't thinking. I do bring one of my scorpions on with Bernice, and she moves over to help with the Witch Elves. Itameta brings one on and just kind of holds back. He's going to try to use that in order to get Miasma Mirage off, and he does on the Witch Elves, which is huge, which means I get at least 2 more turns of shooting at them, which I really, really need. The Boshati redress the ranks to just kind of, close up a little bit. I couldn't turn really to face the Witch Elves, so it is what it is, but I'm okay with the way they are right now. Itameta charges into the Executioners and makes it, and that was always the plan. He's got glittering robes on, so I think they need 4s to hit him, which should actually help a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my movement. Oh, this is what I needed. This is what I was looking for last turn. The archers fired 24 shots, and I'm able to kill 8 of the witch elves. Oh my god, that helped. There's still plenty of them in there to obliterate my unit. I'm well aware of that, but killing 8 of them was huge. Golly, I needed that. Oh, and then the Boshati, in their last act of defiance, kill off all but one of the Dark Riders. Oh, they did good. They did real good. And then Bernice, she fires off Unquiet Spirits on the General's unit, is able to kill the unit champion, but wasn't able to do anything to the Dreadlord. She tried, it just the Dice God said no. With that, we go into combat, and Ida is able to kill, I think, 6 of them for a total of 7. And he wasn't able to do anything back to me. I believe I got into a challenge with his unit champion, so I did the max overkill or whatever you can do, 5+1, and then I had close order. He had rank, banner, close order, so I won by 4, I believe, but I believe they end up falling back in good order or giving ground, one of the two. But since they're drilled, he redresses the ranks, as you see here, and then he hits the impassable terrain and stops. I follow up, so I stay in base to base with him, but it's only like a quarter of an inch. So not bad. Good tactic by my opponent. It was exciting, I got to admit it, but yeah, that was it. So here's top of 3 after movement, and yeah, his general goes into my Boshati. I don't believe they were or far enough away to stand and shoot, so he just made it in no problem. His Supreme Sorceress and the remaining Dark Rider move over to go after my Scorpions and my Archers. The Witch Elves move forward into the woods just a little bit, and really that's it for movement, because obviously the bolt throwers don't go anywhere. That brings us right into combat, and yeah, his Dreadlord's able to do 4 wounds, I think, total, which hurts a lot. I'm not able to do anything back to him because he's a Dreadlord. But yeah, they do give ground, take a couple more wounds, and yeah, they end up right where you see. So there's like 4 wounds left on a unit. I know they're probably dead, but it is what it is. Also, in case you didn't notice, he got Black Horror off and put it right next to Bernice. It is random, but I got a bad feeling about this. What gives me a good feeling, though, is this combat right here, where Ida Metagasi kills, what, 3, 6, 7, 8 executioners, takes nothing for his trouble in return. I win this combat by a boatload, like 6 or 7. The executioners fail their leadership. I think he literally rolled like an 11 or something like that. Broke, and Ida Metagasi ran them down. I did try to take a test in order to turn and face the Witch Elves, and I failed it. So Ida Metagasi is just really happy to be looking forward right now. That takes us to bottom of turn 3, and yeah, all you have to do is look at the table to see. I'll get to it in a moment. So with the executioners no longer a threat, the Boshati on the right flank there turn to face the Witch Elves. The Scorpions turn to look over towards the Witch Elves. Itametagasi turns around and goes forward a little bit in order to try to deal with the Witch Elves, maybe even the Supreme Sorceress or the Dark Rider. Yeah, and now let me address the elephant in the room. His Black Horror. He did roll random, and it randomly moved perfectly. It passed through my Boshati, and it passed through Bernice, and then it went off the table. There was nothing I could do. He did 6 hits on Bernice, and she failed exactly 3 strength checks. She tried. She really tried. She tried to stick it out. She tried to be there for me, and unfortunately, she was returned to dust. We will rebuild her. We will bring her back. But he only did 1 hit to the Boshati, and they were actually fine. So coin flip could have went either way, but yes, Bernice's return to rest, which she will not suffer through very long. We will bring her back, but it's sad, and I need a moment. So Bernice being dead sparked something in the archers because they fire at the witch elves and kill all but 5. Still way too many witch elves on the table. Let me be very clear, but the fact that I got them down to 4 witch elves and a death hag, I'm very proud of. They're all still dead. If they get into combat, they're all still dead. I'm well aware of that, but it feels really good. And then the Boshati fire at them and are able to kill 2 more of them, bringing the total down to what? 2 witch elves and a death hag. Remember those numbers, they'll be important in a minute. That takes us to combat, and of course his Dreadlord's able to finish off the remaining Boshati, no problem at all. He overruns, and then he passes leadership to reform, and turns to basically look right at the Scorpion, which is really smart. So we go over here to top of turn 4, and yeah, his Dreadlord charges into the Scorpion just like we thought he would. The Witch Elves charge into the Archers just like we knew they would. I did back up with my reserve move, but it wasn't enough. They were close enough where I couldn't shoot them. His Sorcerer Supreme and the Dark Rider move over behind my Archers so that they can't be shot. And really, that's it for movement. I've done a really good job so far, and I'm really worried that that is over. Nothing happens in the shooting magic phase, so we go straight to combat, and yeah, his Dreadlord obliterates the Scorpion. Not a surprise at all. And then he overran. I don't remember if he fails his leadership to reform, but I mean, right now he's a skirmisher with 360 line of sight, so it really doesn't matter which way he faces. But yeah, that's where he ends up after the combat. So we go to this combat. Look at what these elves did. There are two elves, a unit champion, a standard bearer, and a death hag. Okay, I understand that the death hag is a lord level character. There are three infantry models into my huge brick of archers. Granted, the archers are weapon skill 2, toughness 3. They're not really made for combat. He does 10 wounds to me. And then he's got actually he might have done 12. He did 12 wounds, and he's got a banner. Okay, I was able to swing back with the mortuary priest. Guess what? Baby mage really isn't cut out for combat. So 2 ranks, banner, BSB. That's it. So 13 combat res to 4. Holy shit. I may have undersold how dangerous witch elves are. I believe the banner does give me Indomitable 2 or 3, which really helps a lot, but we give ground, and this is where we end up at afterwards. 22 guys left, 21 skeleton archers, and a BSB left. I stand corrected. Oh my god. Anybody who says witch elves aren't that powerful, aren't that dangerous, is not your friend. You unfriend them on both social media and in real life. Immediately. They're not good people. All right, well, that brings us over here to bottom of turn 4, and Itametigasi goes into the Dreadlord. I'm feeling like it's now or never. I've got to get rid of him before he gets into my Boshati, kills off the rest of my Scorpions. The one did real good. I'm glad he was a speed bump. The other one's been a really good, like, battery and everything. I'm pretty happy about that. The other one that I just pulled in, he's going after that bolt thrower, and so I really like the Scorpions. I'm trying to adhere to what I perceive the restrictions are going to be. The tournament restrictions are going to be in 2025. So I'm only taking 3, but I like them almost as much as I like the Boshati. The only other thing that happens in my movement phase, though, is the swarms charge the one remaining Dark Rider who fires and flees. He's not able to do any wounds, but he does get away. Thing about that is, though, he's below 25% in his fleeing. He's going to need snakes to come back. So more than likely, they still got the points for him. I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, that's it for movement. So, kind of important, Itametigasi tried to get glittering robes off because he likes to be bedazzled, and of course, his Sorcerer Supreme tried to stop that and miscast 10. So, she did stop the spell, but she's done dispelling for the rest of the turn, which is huge because it is in combat with his Dreadlord and wants to get Spectral Doppelganger off really, really bad. Nothing happens in the magic phase or anything like that. Bernice is dead, and the Boshati really didn't have anything to shoot at. Also, they tried to charge into the Witch Elves and failed, mainly due to the woods. It is what it is. So we go into combat, and yeah, the Witch Elves are able to kill 7 more of the archers. They were exhausted. I don't know what to tell you. She did issue a challenge, and I just wasn't ready for my BSB to be dead yet, so he fell back, can't contribute to the fight whatsoever. So all I have is a banner. I don't know what the second combat res was for. Maybe I don't know. I don't know why I have 2 there. Obviously, I didn't kill anything, so I was wrong there. We must have done something wrong there. It was late. Leave me alone. But still, either way, he wins by 6. And after crumbles and everything like that, I end up right here after giving ground. So it's not great. It's not great. And again, 2 witches and a death hag, and they are obliterating this poor unit. Oh, and then this combat. Ida, you magnificent bastard, you. Spectral Doppelganger all day. It goes off. I get a whole bunch of the woos through. I think he may save some. I think 1 got through for 2 wounds, and then the Badonk the dragon was able to finish him off. Either way, he got mushed, and he will be sent on a pyre over to King Bubba Hotep as lawful tribute to the one and true king of Tomb Kings. It does pass his restraint check and then turns to face either the Witch Elves or his Sorcerer Supreme. Whatever, it is his turn next. But, gosh, if the archers can hold out, maybe he can get over there and help. But if they give ground 1 more inch, I'm not going to be able to see him. So it's looking like I'm pretty much not going to be able to do anything. But that's the way I turned. Okay, it's intense. But here's top of turn 5, and not a ton of movement. His Dark Rider does not pass and flees off the table. His Sorcerer Supreme runs over to behind the hill there, so she can't be shot or charged, which is really really smart. And his Bolt Throwers stay perfectly still. That's it for movement. His bolt thrower over here on our left flank fires at Inametagacy's ass and puts 2 wounds on him. That is so Dark Elf. I'm not even going to say it's rude because that is exactly what a Dark Elf would do. They're probably laughing. Just awful. That brings us over to combat, and yeah, the Witch Elves obliterate this unit. There's a guy and my BSB left, and guess what combat does to that? Yeah, Baby Mage and the one remaining Skeleton Archer are destroyed. That's right. 2 Witch Elves, granted one's a unit champion, one's a standard bearer, and a death hag, were able to walk through 36 skeleton archers and my mortuary priest without taking a single wound in return. Oh man, I like I said, if 2 got to combat, I'd be screwed. But I may have undersold just how dangerous and, let's face it, incredibly awesome Witch Elves are. Here's bottom of 5 after movement, and yeah, the Boshati move up to try to take pot shots at the Sorcerer Supreme. Itametigasi moves up, he gets glittering robes off on himself. Whoop-de-doo. I didn't want to fire forward because I was afraid she would try to go away or get around him or something like that. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be able to do. I'm just kind of hoping against hope that I get an opportunity to drop her. And then in the top right there, the one remaining Tomb Scorpion ends up into the Bolt Thrower, which I'm really excited about. And if you're wondering what happened to the other one, Itametigasi ate it so that he could get Spectral Doppelganger off on the Dreadlord last turn. I just forgot to mention it. So that's it for movement. We go into shooting, and Boshati, I think the 3 that can see her are able to slip 1 bolt through her, doing 2 wounds, and because they're awesome, they're little mini bolt throwers. And yeah, she's not dead. She just wishes she was. And honestly, so do I. We go into combat, and my these swarms, God, I love them. They do take a bunch of wounds, obviously. I think they take 5 total. And in return, I'm able to kill the standard bearer, which is actually huge. That's actually huge. So yeah, the swarm killed the standard bearer, which is great. So there's only a unit champion and a death hag left. But with combat res, the remaining swarms die, and then the witch elves overrun off the table. They'll be back, and we will be waiting for them. In combat with a Tomb Scorpion, he's easily able to destroy the crew of the Reaper Bolt Thrower, and then he turns to face the other one. Not that I'm going to have any chance in hell in actually charging him, but I do like to put the pressure on, and it makes for a cool visual. Here's top of 6 after movement. Nothing really crazy happens. His Sorcerer Supreme goes behind the hill so she can't be shot at again, charge, or anything like that, which is smart. His Witch Elves come back onto the table and just stand right there. It's not like I'm going to be able to charge them. And his Bolt Thrower does fire at Inametagacy and doesn't actually do any wounds. I'm able to ward save it, I believe. And really, that's it for his turn. Here's bottom of 6 after movement. The Boshati turn to face the Witch Elves. The Inametagacy moves up in the vain attempt in order to try to breath weapon on the Supreme Sorceress and finish her off because that would be hilarious. The Black Horror goes through, I think, Inametagacy, maybe. I can't remember. It doesn't hurt anything, whatever it does. And my Scorpion just moves 7 inches closer to the Bolt Thrower that he's never going to be able to see in combat because, in turn 7, everybody just says, timeout, and goes home. Oh man, Badonkadonk, as you can see, he just touches her with the template. I mean, not just, it's a partial, but it's still enough. Badonk gets her. I rolled a 6 for the partial and a 6 to wound. -3 AP, multiple wounds too. She drops like a bad habit. Oh man, lucky as hell. No skill involved whatsoever. I'll take it. Got her. Oh, over here, the Boshati. Oh, the lovely Boshati. They hit and wound, putting enough on each of them to kill both the Death Hag and the unit champion. So while the Witch Elves were the scourge of my army this game, at least none of them will be at the party after the game is over. And there it is. There's the end of the game. The Dark Elves have a Bolt Thrower left, and I've got like my Boshati, Ida, and a Scorpion left. So this was a bloody, bloody game. But oh, I am so glad that I'm remembering to use the Breath Weapon on Ida now. I really underutilized that incredibly potent weapon. Or maybe I'm just getting lucky with it, and I'll rely on it too much and it'll let me down. But anyway, in the end, I ended up getting 2011 out of him. He got 1292 out of me for a victory for Lord Tremendous. So yeah, hard fought game. I got really lucky that my opponent's dice kind of failed him in quite a few critical times, so I'll take it. And that mine really had my back, especially like for example, Badonkadong's fight a fatal shot on the Sorceress Supreme at the end there with a partial. Oh my god. So yeah, let's get into the recap because this was awesome. Man, at the beginning of the game, I told my opponent, if two Witch Elves get into combat with pretty much anything I have, I'm screwed. That's why I concentrated fire on them so much to the detriment of just about everything else. And then I was right. He doubted me. He said I was out of my mind. He called me names. He said my couch was stupid. And then two Witches and a Death Hag get into my Archer block and destroy all of them. All of them. I couldn't do anything. It was insane. But, of course, the Boshati were the MVPs once again, stapling the remaining two to the ground once they came back on the table. So, in the end, I was right to shoot at them, and it worked out, but man, are they powerful. I really like that unit. It has smoked that Piddly Dreadlord. Oh, it feels good. It feels right. But the Tomb Scorpions came in clutch in this game too, like just getting rid of the chaff and stuff like that, doing what they did. I really like them. The army, it feels like, is coming into its own. I feel like there's some little minor tweaks I still have to do, but for the most part, I think I found the army that perfectly fits my playstyle. Poor Bernice, though. I hate it when she gets unanimated. She'll be back. We'll pick her up. There's plenty of scraps to build her back up with. It's just, she's like always the MVP. It really sucks that she died. But I gotta be honest, seeing the Dark Elves on the table and seeing, like, especially the Witch Elves and the Death Hag, and just, I had some ideas. I won't lie, I'm tinkering with a Dark Elf list. I don't know if I'm going to ever play it, but it just felt like really good. And for a Legacy army, I mean, I saw potential. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm completely in the wrong, but I might experiment with some Dark Elves. I think maybe I should make a Dark Elf list. I don't know. But like I said, this is the first time I've run into the Dark Elves since I started doing battle reports, so we have a whole new pile of corpses to send to King Bubba Hotep, the one and true god, or lord, I should say, of the Tomb King world. And yes, I got a lot to send him. I got that Dreadlord, I got the Death Hag, and I got the Supreme Sorceress. That's a huge offering to the Great King. In core, I got 8 Dark Riders and 27 Witch Elves. I know he's going to be happy about that. In fact, King Hotep will receive all 27 of the Witch Elves because that's the kind of tribute he truly deserves. In special, I got 7 Cold One Knights and all 20 of his Executioners, and rare, I picked up a Reaper Bolt Thrower. So all in all, a really good turnout, really good murder spree for the Tomb Kings in this one. My Wood Elf numbers are still very impressive, probably because I run into them the most often, but I'm still very happy with it. And the unworthy Tomb Kings that were sent as a tithe are still there. A little bit of a recap on the Bretonnians and High Elves I've killed over my games. I'm pretty happy with those numbers. My numbers in the Chaos Dwarves are still pretty decent as well. Well, my Orcs and Goblins numbers could really go up, but I don't have an Orc and Goblin opponent. If you'd like to fix that, reach out. And, of course, the Demons and Warriors of Chaos numbers stay the same as well, because I haven't run into them in a long time. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!